on Sports Wars. This is Ryan from RK Outpost, and today I'm coming to you with a video on this week in Major League Baseball. So this is just going to be a video where I go over some of the cool, interesting stories that I saw this week, and at the very end we'll wrap it up with the standings from around the league and kind of where we are going forward. So let's get into it. All right, so this first story, Richard Cruz on Twitter, got to give you a shout out, man. It was a good idea to tag me in this. I had seen it already, but you kind of gave me the good feeling to go ahead and do a little portion of this video on it. So Yankees White Sox to play at Field of Dreams. So Major League Baseball announced this, that next year in 2020, the White Sox and Yankees are actually going to play in Iowa on the field where Field of Dreams was filmed. So read the first little paragraph right here. So New York Yankees and Chicago White Sox will play a game at the famed Field of Dreams in Dyersville, Iowa on August 13th, 2020, the teams announced Thursday. A temporary 8,000-seat ballpark will be built at the site where the 1989 movie was filmed to accommodate the first Major League game played in Iowa. So this should be really cool for people that actually get to go to this. The 8,000 people is going to be a very small atmosphere. If you're only going to fit 8,000, it's going to be like minor league baseball game. So to see guys like Aaron Judge and Jose Abreu and Eloy Jimenez and, you know, the iconic Yankee pinstripes, it's going to be really cool for the people in Iowa to see that. I wish I could be there for that. It's pretty cool. And actually, Major League Baseball released, maybe it's a little cringy, but I think it's kind of funny. We'll go ahead and take a look at it.
Hey, is this heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
Yeah, you see the great acting skill from Aaron Judge right there. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Exciting news, especially if you live in that area, Iowa. So, second story I wanted to talk about, and you could probably make a story like this every week, but Mike Trout. We are watching one of the most maybe underappreciated guys in professional sports. Not saying he's underrated because everyone knows how great he is, but the fact that this dude just does what he does, stays quiet, goes out there, doesn't have the best team surrounding him, but just does his job day in, day out is awesome. He's obviously getting paid like it too. But Mike Trout Tracker, July edition. He's now better than 8 more Hall of Famers. And you know, Mike Trout is squarely in the passing Hall of Famers in career WAR every few days period of his career. He's still 27. It's pretty crazy. He just passed Barry Larkin as the significant guy he passed, in addition to several more Hall of Famers. But I want to just go ahead and pull up the career WAR, so all-time wins above replacement list. So if you're not familiar with wins above replacement, essentially it's a statistic that's been pretty popular to use in this kind of age of analytics. It's a really easy thing for people to kind of capture. It's just a single number. This singular number is supposed to represent the difference that that player will give you as opposed to a typical average replacement player, so a guy who's kind of bouncing between the major leagues and AAA. That's kind of the standard. So right now, Mike Trout, just for this year, is at about 7.5 wins above replacement. If he were to go down with an injury, that's how many more wins the Angels have right now than they would if a random guy replaced him. So right now he's 90th in Major League Baseball history at 71.7 wins above replacement. So you can see down here, Barry Larkin's the guy he did pass. He's going to pass Derek Jeter probably in the next couple weeks. He's just a little ahead of him. So just think about that. Mike Trout, he has only played half the games that Derek Jeter has in his career. Maybe even fewer. Yeah, he's played parts of 9 seasons. Jeter played 20, and he's about to pass him. That's how valuable he is. Jim Thome is next here. Frank Thomas, those guys are all Hall of Famers he's about to pass. Reggie Jackson. Johnny Bench, he'll probably pass by the end of the year, maybe. But we just need to appreciate a little more what Mike Trout does. And it's pretty incredible. So next, there might be one of these every week that I do because I got to talk about my Cubbies. This one isn't necessarily a good thing, but Cubs reportedly signed veteran catcher Jonathan Lucroy following Wilson Contreras' hamstring injury. So kind of injuries is the story right now with Chicago Cubs. So Willis Contreras, all-star starting catcher, one of the best young defensive and offensive catchers in the league. Really a backbone of that Cubs like pitching staff. He helps them out behind the plate, keeps runners off the base paths from stealing and everything. And he's going to be out at least for probably a month. And they just traded Martin Maldonado. So they were a little pickle, and luckily Jonathan Lucroy was available. But the Cubs also just had Craig Kimbrell, the closer that they gave a 3-year pretty big money deal. He's on the injured list due to a knee injury. So you never know what's going to happen in Major League Baseball. Like I talked about in my trade deadline video, the Cubs really needed some depth, and they got it luckily because they got more injuries. Luckily, Nick Castellanos, like I talked about, is absolutely hammering the ball. He's playing great for them, providing a great spark. Ian Happ is up from AAA after being down there most of the year. He is hammering the ball right now. So Cubs are still doing good, but gotta see if they can fight through the injury bug. And lastly, we'll just go ahead and take a look at standings in Major League Baseball. So starting the AL East, the Yankees are clearly the tops of that division. Tampa Bay, still as always, kind of doing a lot with a little, which is typical of them. They're squarely in that wild card spot. Defending champion Boston Red Sox, they didn't do anything in the trade deadline. They need to pick it up because right now they are not going to make the playoffs. They're 5.5 games back in the wild card, so it doesn't look good for them. AL Central, Cleveland's not really a surprise, but Minnesota, the year they're having is crazy. Minnesota's really impressed a lot of people, and Cleveland made some, like I talked about, some big deals in the trade deadline to keep pace. They're still a little bit back in the wild card hunt, but they're in good position going forward. Houston, we talked about them, the class of the AL West. And Oakland, again, like the Rays, one of those teams that does a lot with a little. They are right in the thick of things. Obviously not in the division, but in the wild card. The Angels, the Angels have Mike Trout, but they just don't have a team around him. NL East, very competitive division if you look at these numbers right here. So Atlanta is in control. I don't see them giving it up right now. But Washington and Philly both really in the thick of this wild card race, with the Mets not far behind. So very tight division right here. The Mets did make that move to get Stroman. So we'll see if they can make the playoffs at the end. NL Central, my Chicago Cubs, starting to creep away from the field. Starting to creep away from Milwaukee and St. Louis, who didn't really do anything at the trade deadline. So if you're Chicago, you got to be feeling a little better. They need to start playing better on the road. If you look at their home and away split, it's pretty insane that they're 10 games under 5 or 11 games under 500 away. So hopefully they can straighten it out. And then NL West, the Dodgers have so much talent, and they're so much better than the rest of the division, and it shows. Just to really recap the wild card spots right here, you can really get a clear picture that Cleveland, Tampa Bay right there, with Oakland lurking not too far behind in the AL. And in the NL, Washington with Philly and Milwaukee tied for that last wild card spot. St. Louis, Mets. Arizona's pretty much given up because they got rid of Zach Greinke. They're kind of looking to get in that retool mode. But yeah, looks like it's going to be tight in the NL coming down for it. So we'll see. But that's it for this week in Major League Baseball. So you'll be getting another one next week. So make sure you smash that like button, subscribe. In the comments, did you see anything that happened this week that you wanted me to cover? Anything you want me to cover next week? Let me know. Leave a comment, and I'll talk to you guys later.